Irys was a quiet child, always lost in her own world. She had been at Blackthorn Orphanage for as long as she could remember. The stone building loomed at the edge of a forest, its windows black like the eyes of a watchful beast. The other children shied away from Irys, murmuring about the strange way the shadows seemed to gather around her wherever she went. Mrs. Aldridge, the strict headmistress, often scolded Irys for her odd behavior. "You mustn't lurk in the dark corners of the house, Irys. It's unsettling," she would say. But Irys didn't mind the darkness. It was in the shadows that she felt most at home. There was something comforting about the cool embrace of the shadows, the way they whispered softly in her ears, telling her secrets that no one else could hear. She didn't understand why the other children were so afraid. The shadows never hurt her. In fact, they made her feel safe, protected. One evening, after the lights had been extinguished, Irys slipped out of her bed and crept down the narrow, twisting hallways of the orphanage. The storm outside rattled the windows, and the wind howled like a feral creature. The darkness wrapped itself around her like a familiar cloak, and the shadows beneath her feet seemed to ripple as she walked. She was heading toward the cellar, the part of the house no one else dared to enter. Irys felt drawn there, as though something in the deep darkness was calling to her, something that understood her loneliness. The door to the cellar was heavy and old, the wood rotting in places, but it gave way with a creak as she pushed it open. The stairs spiraled down into a pit of blackness, and yet Irys was not afraid. As she descended, the whispers of the shadows grew louder, more insistent. "Come closer," they said, their voices soft as silk. At the bottom of the stairs, the air was cold, damp, and thick with the scent of earth. Irys could barely see in the oppressive darkness, but the shadows seemed to guide her, pulling her deeper into the cellar. In the far corner, there was a figure, a tall, thin shape that was more shadow than substance, standing perfectly still. "Who are you?" Irys whispered. The figure stepped forward, and Irys felt her heart race. It looked like a person, but its face was a void, its features swallowed by darkness. It raised a hand, long and bony, and beckoned her closer. "I've been waiting for you," the shadow said in a voice that sounded like the wind slipping through cracks in the walls. Irys' breath caught. "Waiting for me? Why?" The shadow moved closer, and she could feel its cold presence enveloping her. "You are one of us, Irys. You've always belonged to the shadows." She stepped back, confused. "What do you mean?" The shadow leaned closer, its voice a chilling whisper. "You're not like the others. You never were. You were born of darkness, a part of it. This place, this orphanage, it's not your home. Your true home is with us, in the shadows." The room seemed to close in around her, and for the first time, Irys felt a tremor of fear. "But I'm just a girl. I'm just me." The shadow laughed softly, a sound that sent icy chills down her spine. "No, Irys, you were never just a girl. The night you were left here, you were already different. The shadows chose you." Suddenly, memories began to flood her mind, of nights spent in the dark, the way the shadows had always seemed to follow her, the strange sense of belonging she felt in the quiet of night, the whispers that had always been there. Irys' skin prickled as the truth unraveled before her. The orphanage hadn't found her. She had come from the shadows themselves. With that revelation, her reflection shimmered in the darkness, her body growing faint, her edges blurring like smoke. She looked down at her hands and gasped. They were becoming as dark and insubstantial as the shadowy figure before her. "No!" Irys cried, but her voice was already fading. The shadow spoke one last time, its voice merging with hers. "You are home now. You are one of us." In an instant, Irys was gone. The cellar was silent, save for the faint rustling of the shadows as they settled back into place, content. Upstairs, Mrs. Aldridge checked the children's beds, her face tightening when she saw Irys was empty. "Another one lost to the shadows," she whispered to herself, and closed the door to the room, leaving the darkness undisturbed. But in the shadows, Irys still lingered, watching, waiting, forever part of the darkness she once feared. Hey everyone, if you like what you see, please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more great content. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll always know when I post new videos. Your support means a lot, and it helps the channel grow. Thank you.